Welcome on in, board gaming fans. If you're like me, you're going to be excited about the upcoming Kickstarter from Mantic Games for Dungeon Saga Origins. Come with me on an adventure as I learn to play the game. The game is for 2 to 5 players. There's 4 hero classes, and one person takes the role of the Overlord. The Overlord is like a game master in a TTRPG. They're going to control the monsters and play against the heroes. Also, their job is to make sure everyone's having a good time. This is a preview copy of the game, so some of the final components may look a little different upon completion. Let's take a look at the hero cards. First we have the movement score, so this means this character can move 6 squares. Next we have the melee attack. This is the number of dice you get for a melee attack. This is the range attack, which is the number of dice you get for a range attack. The last box we have is the armor score. So this character has an armor score of 2. Here you can see all 4 heroes. Each hero has a special ability they can use once per game. Madriga has the special skill Sure Shot. Once per game, she can re-roll any one of her dice when making a shoot action. Danor, who is our wizard, has the special skill Magister. Once per game, he can re-roll any one of his dice by making a cast spell action. Warden is our dwarf fighter. His special skill is Stalwart. Once per game, he can re-roll any one of his dice when defending an attack. Last, we have Olaf, our barbarian, who, surprise surprise, has the skills special Frenzy. Once per game, he can re-roll any one of his dice when making a fight action. Now let's take a look at our monster cards. As you can see, the monsters have ability scores just like the heroes. Their movement, their melee attack score, their range attack score, and their defense. Monster bosses get a hero card similar to the heroes themselves and have a special ability. For this, we're going to look at the Zombie Troll Tyrant. Today we're going to try adventure number 1, The Restless Dead. This is an adventure where we're going to face off against some skeletons and zombies. For this adventure, we're just going to be using 2 of the larger tiles. We've got it set up here with all the different terrain features. We've got doors, secret passages, and some obstacles to get around, and treasure chests. Our heroes are going to start off over in the corner here by trying to make their way through this dungeon. The game is played in rounds. It starts with each of the 4 hero players taking their turn one by one. Then the Overlord moves all the enemies. On their turn, both the heroes and the monsters could fight, shoot, or cast a spell. The heroes also have the ability to use a feat, to explore, revive, or trade. We're going to keep the things to the basics today, so we're going to just stick with fighting, shooting, and maybe we'll cast a spell. There's some extra rules for the wizard character. In particular, they get to choose spell cards for casting spells. Now, at the start of the game, the wizard chooses 2 of the 3 spell sets available. There's Petty Magic, Hydromancy, and Pyromancy. For today's session, we're going to stick with Hydromancy and Pyromancy. All of the heroes would also get to choose a feat card. We're not going to use one of the feats today, so we're going to set those to the side for right now. The heroes have the choice of what order they want to go in terms of their actions. Now, a hero must complete its full turn before the next hero goes, though. So they can't do part of it and let another hero do something and then finish their turn. It's got to be straight through. The heroes are going to start by sending out Orloff the Barbarian. He has a movement of 5. So we're going to move up 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to go 4 right into here. And we're going to take our action, which will be to attack the skeleton warrior that's in front of us. For the attack, both Orloff and the skeleton warrior are going to roll dice equal to their melee attack dice score. While not applicable in this scenario, there are times where the number will be reduced, but no matter what, a model will always roll at least 2 dice. Orloff has a melee attack score of 5, so we're going to roll 5 dice for Orloff. Got 3 4s, a 2, and a 1. Now we're going to roll for the defender. The melee attack score for the defender is 2, so they get to roll 2 dice, a 6 and a 2. First, the attacker discards any dice that are less than or equal to the defender's armor value, which in this case is a 2. So we take away the 1, and we take away the 2. If there were no dice left, that would mean the attack has failed and the fighter's turn is over. Now we pair up the attacker dice and defender dice. So we put the defender's highest and the attacker's highest together, and then the next highest and the next highest together. If the attacker's dice is higher, it's a hit. If the attacker's dice is equal to or less than the defender's dice, it's a miss. In this scenario, our barbarian scored 1 hit. The defender card will have a damaged target. This is the number of hits required to destroy that model. In this scenario, we've got 1 hit, so we've only done 1 damage. The model is not destroyed. Let's activate our wizard next. Our wizard has a movement of 5. 1, 2, 3, and then we'll go 4. Danor is going to cast the spell Burn. Select a target up to 4 squares away that does not need to be visible. The target suffers a 4-die attack. So in this case, we're using the dice based off of the spell card here versus what it would say on Danor's stat card. This will give us more dice because Danor's stats are 2 for a melee attack and 0 for a range attack. Let's roll our 4 die. That looks good. We got 2 5s and we've got a 2 and a 1. For the defender, a 4 and a 1. So we're going to match up highest and highest. These both would be misses anyways, or actually feeble attacks, because they are less than the armor score of the defender. So in this scenario, 2 attacks hit. The skeleton warrior had a damage target of 2. It already had taken 1 damage, so it is destroyed. One thing to note about movement that I didn't do so far is you could move diagonally. So that would count as 1 movement right there. Next, we're going to activate Madriga, our elf ranger, who has a movement of 6. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to stop there because I don't want to get too close, as she is a archer, and I don't want to be up in front of that zombie. Now let's go over shooting. Models with a range value may shoot at enemy models, provided they are visible to the shooting model. For a target to be considered visible, there must be an unobscured straight line from anywhere in the shooter's square through their front arc to anywhere in the target's square. If the line passes through another model, a wall, high furniture, or a closed door, the target is not visible and the shot cannot be taken. In this scenario, we have a straight line. If we can't shoot through these walls into here, can't shoot these walls into here, we only have 1 possible target right now. And that's where we're going to shoot. Our hero has a range score of 4. We'll get to roll 4 dice. A 1, a 2, a 6, and a 5. Now, we're shooting at a zombie that has a combat score of 2, so we'll get to roll 2 dice. That's not good. Double 6s. What are the odds? I should note the zombie has an armor score of 1, so the 1 that the ranger rolled would be a feeble attack and automatically comes off. Now we pair up our attacks to see if we hit. A 6 versus a 6, ties go to the defender, so that does not hit. Now in the next scenario, the defender also rolled a 6, and the ranger's next highest attack was a 5, so that also misses. So we do no damage to that zombie. I can already see that I've left the ranger exposed out there. This is not going to be good. Let's finish things up with moving Warden. Warden has a movement score of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we cannot get very far. He doesn't have any ranged attacks, so he is going to end his turn right there. Now we turn things over to the Overlord, who will control the monsters. First, the zombie is going to activate. It has a movement score of 4, but only needs to move up 2 spaces to get in Madriga's way. It's going to make a melee attack against Madriga. Its combat score is a 2, so it will get to roll 2 dice. Madriga has a combat score of 3, so she'll get to roll 3 dice and respond. Let's roll first for the zombie. Oh, snake eyes. All right. So I'll still roll for Madriga just to make the roll, but those would both be less than Madriga's armor score of 2, making them feeble attacks. There's the roll. That was a pretty good roll, so it would have been a complete defense anyways. So no damage is done to Madriga, and that zombie's turn is over. This is a good time to point out that you should be specific about which direction a hero or monster is facing. There are some penalties from being attacked from the rear. It does count as a turn of movement if you want to turn your character but not move them a space. Also relating to movement, heroes can move through heroes and monsters can move through monsters, but not vice versa. So no monsters moving through heroes and no heroes moving through monsters. Now we'll move a monster through a door. This monster would not be able to move straight through this line because that is walled off right here. But there is a door here. So it will move 1, 2 through the door. This is an armored zombie. It has a movement of 4. So we're going to go 3 right here to attack our poor defenseless ranger. The armored zombie has an attack score or combat score of 3. We'll be rolling 3 dice here. Let's re-roll this one. A 6, a 5, and a 4. That's pretty strong. They're all going to be above the armor score for Madriga, so no feeble attacks. Now Madriga will roll 3 dice in defense. That is not good. That is not good at all. So we match up the highest in order. So this unfortunately is 1 and a 1. So that is going to be 3 hits making it through to Madriga. That's not good. So I've learned some good news for Madriga. Heroes only suffer a maximum of 1 point of damage per attack, regardless of how many times they are hit. So even though she was hit 3 times, she's still only receiving 1 point of damage. If she was hit once, she still receives 1 point. She's hit 3 times, receives 1 point of damage. So that hero could only take damage 1 time per attack by a monster. Heroes have a health tracker on their character card. So for taking 1 point of damage, it is going to move down 1, moving closer to the skull at the bottom. If the health counter reaches the skull symbol on the health track, the hero has been reduced to 0 health. The hero is considered exhausted, and the model is placed lying down on the square it is in. Exhausted heroes must be revived in a subsequent turn. If a player is knocked out, they could be revived. A player can only be revived once per game. If they go down again, they are knocked out of that round. Now we're going to move our skeleton archer. We're going to say that doorway is open. I probably need to flip it over to make that clear. I feel like I'm picking on Madriga here, but unfortunately she is exposed out there. The skeleton archer has a ranged attack score of 3, so it's going to roll 3 dice to try to hit her. So we've got a 3, and a 2. The 2 is a feeble attack, so that is automatically out. Her combat score is a 3, so she's going to roll 3 dice in opposition. Now we pair things up. Good news, her 5 beats the 3, and her 3 ties the 3. Ties go to the defender, so the skeleton archer does not hit her. Let's move our remaining monsters. This zombie here can move 4. 1, 2, 3 out, and we'll stay there. This monster will go around this furniture here, so it's going to move 1, 2, and I had accidentally moved the door. 3 and 4 out the door. So that takes us through 1 round of the game to give some of the basics of movements and attacks and spell casting. There's a lot more advanced rules, things like exploring, equipment, feats that the heroes could use, boss monster, treasure chests, all kinds of things that you could get into. But this right now at least is a basics of the movements to get an idea of how the game moves at a base level. Thanks for joining me to check out Dungeon Saga Origins from Mantic Games. Mantic is going to be doing a Kickstarter at the end of March. I'll put a link to the Kickstarter down in the description below. Thanks to Mantic for sending me a review copy of the game. Thanks to you for watching my video. If you're interested in board games, TTRPGs, World of Warcraft, or Pokemon, feel free to subscribe and check out my other videos.